Welcome in to another edition of Soccer Over There, live from the Brewhouse Cafe. I'm Jason Longshore. This is John Nelson. We're getting ready to talk about Champions League. We're getting ready to talk about the champions of Sweden. We're getting ready to talk about the new manager at Rangers. They have one, finally. They got somebody to take the gig. We're going to talk about a new champion in South Korea. We're going to talk about some other games going on, but Champions League will obviously take up a lot of the conversation today. I did want to start with a little something, though. The U.S. Soccer Federation, the Mexican Football Federation, Costa Rican Football Federation, and the Jamaican Football Federation today launched their joint bid, which is unopposed. I think it's basically been approved by FIFA already without a bid. It's an unopposed bid to host the FIFA Women's World Cup in 2031. So it would be the largest Women's World Cup in history. They would welcome an estimated 4.5 million fans across all the venues in 4 host nations. World-class facilities, athlete-centered environments, groundbreaking legacy commitment. The legacy commitment is one of the biggest things with it. They would collaborate with FIFA to ensure the legacy of the tournament, supporting girls' player development, coaching education, and infrastructure growth across member associations. We wondered when the 2031 bid became what the U.S. was going for instead of 2027. And in that one, it was going to be the U.S. and Mexico. And it wasn't necessarily defined when the talk started about 31 that it would still be the U.S. and Mexico. Now Costa Rica and Jamaica have joined in. So it's a very different kind of format. I think the tournament will be a bigger one than what we're going to see in 2027. So, I mean, it's unopposed. FIFA's going to take it. I'm just really curious to see how all of it builds out. And I'm also really curious once you get into the bid book, which will be delivered in November, what they recommend for the final, because I think it could be down the street.
Yeah,
I would love to see that.
April 30th this year was the deadline for anyone who was interested to submit bids, and only one crossed the finish line on that date. So it was the U.S.
You're basically getting to, with these kinds of things, whether we're talking World Cup or whether we're talking Olympics, you're basically trying to get to where it's a bid, but there's not really a bidding process. They're kind of already approving and telling people, like, hey, not this time, go for the next one. Hey, yes, we want you for this one. Because there's only a certain number of places of people that can host it. So the U.S. was obviously going to get it, and then it was down to how do you want to shape it? Do you want to include Costa Rica, Jamaica, anybody else in CONCACAF, Mexico? Canada, I guess, did not either want to be included, or the U.S. and Mexico just said no. I don't know. I don't know how all that went. But you've got a small number of countries and cities that can do these sorts of big events now. So I think they're trying to get to a point to where it's almost self-selected to a point, which is fine if you end up doing everything right in the lead up and make it a good event.
And the other countries that have been attached to this to make it this one confederation bid with the other countries that are attached to it, they've hosted U17s and under tournaments. So the facilities are there and the infrastructure somewhat on a small.
They've got a few. Yeah, they couldn't do it on their own, but they've got at least one facility that will meet the standards.
And you're looking at right now, according to what Cindy Paulo Cohn said, that you have more than 30 cities that have expressed interest in hosting matches. The number goes up to 40 when you're talking co-hosts. So you've got a long line of folks from the U.S. that are interested, and then you have the other countries that are attached to this. I am fascinated to see who wants in on this outside of those markets that we're used to seeing that are diving into this. I want to see who are those that are the wild cards, and I'll put that in quotes. I want to see who's interested from that aspect.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun ride. So the bid book is going to be submitted, and I believe that's made public in November of 2025. And then the final decision, which is, again, already done, is at the FIFA Congress in Vancouver on April 30th of 2026. All right, some other news I wanted to get to before we dive into Champions League and such. A team that you've gotten to know, John, from Sweden, Mjällby, a team from a remote fishing village next to the Baltic Sea. They won the Swedish league title today. It's one of the most remarkable achievements in European soccer. It's an even bigger story in terms of being a surprise than Leicester winning the Premier League. I Premier League is bigger, but this is even more unprecedented. They won today at IFK Gothenburg. They hold an 11-point lead with 3 rounds left in the Swedish top flight. And it's the first major trophy for this club. They've never won anything before. They play their games in a 6,000 capacity stadium in Kjellvik, and that population of that village is 800 people.
Yep. And the principality, I think, is twice that.
Yeah. Okay. So 1,600. Yeah. I mean, this is 9 years ago. They were 1 game away from dropping into the 4th division. They stayed up. They got back-to-back promotions in 18 and 19. And their locally born businessman owner, Magnus Emius, he became chairman in 2015. He's kind of started this whole thing. You had a chance to speak to Anders Torstensson. He's a school principal and the manager of the team. They've lost just 1 game. They have 66 points. I think they almost certainly will, break the all-time record for points in the Swedish top flight. It has over 101 years. It has 100 years of history. They're going to be in the the Champions League qualifying rounds next season, and it'll be the first time they've ever been in Europe. Founded in 1939, they've mostly been in regional leagues. What stood out to you when you had the chance to talk to Torstensson about a month ago? Where things fit?
Just the level-headedness of it. It might be his school teacher background that has played into that. But it was literally, they weren't looking at the standings, or he wasn't letting them look at the standings. He was kind of taking all the slings and arrows. It's like, I'm the front man for all this. Go ahead and you can ask me all the stuff, and I'll let them focus on what's going on. But just his level-headedness in his approach to, okay, I'm not talking, when we talked a month ago, it was mathematically looking like it was going to happen.
Yeah.
Everybody was sitting there going, okay, yeah, it's a fait accompli. He wasn't taking any of that for granted at all. He wasn't saying anything like that. No jinxes, no nothing. We're going to focus. We hear it a lot when Monday through Friday, as we get coaches that are playing on Saturdays. Those same kind of American football college things that we hear. We're just focused on the next opponent. We're not worried about all this kind of stuff. My players, I don't want them really talking about it a whole lot. I'll talk about it so y'all can talk to me. I'm not talking to them. And we'll just focus on this. And then when we get there, then we'll celebrate. And then we'll talk about it. But it was really cool to catch up with Coach Torstensson and just kind of get the whole vibe about everything there as they were getting closer and closer and closer. And then, of course, they beat Alexander Isak's old club at his joint, winning 2-0 today, 2 goals, I think, in 8 minutes to get the win for, this principality of 1,500 folks, the town of 800 folks, and you get to raise the trophy and everything.
Wow. They've only conceded 17 goals in 27 games.
Amazing.
Torstensson, third stint as a coach, and his assistant has a PhD in visual perception in elite football. Torstensson had never coached at a senior level before being at this team. They've got Axel Noren, who was recently just called up to the Swedish national team for the first time, and one of his fellow defenders, Abdullah Iqbal, who is Pakistan's captain. That is Mjölby. You're going to have to get to know them when we talk about Champions League next year. Hopefully they can get through the qualifying rounds. Rangers did not get into Champions League this year. Neither did Celtic. It's not a good time in Scotland at the moment. Rangers finally have a new manager, former Sheffield Wednesday manager, Danny Roll. 2.5-year contract. He's the replacement for Russell Martin. They tried to get Steven Gerrard. He said, They tried to get Kevin Muscat. He said, He's busy in China trying to win a league title. So they get Roll, who's 36 years old, German. He did well at Sheffield Wednesday, keeping them up last year. That was a really impressive feat. And then was able to leave when he didn't get paid.
Yes.
He left in July. He had previously been in coaching roles with Leipzig, with Southampton, with Bayern Munich, and with the German national team. So a lot of experience at a young age. He's going into a powder keg in Glasgow with Rangers, who have been very, very bad. His first game in charge will be on Thursday in the Europa League against Brann.
And the circumstances around the Muscat desire to hire instead of the hiring. Since he was in the middle of a run in his league, the hook would have been, you could get him, but it would have to be after his season was
in
over.
November. He's in China.
And so when that's over in China in November, then you can have him, but not before, and that's when Muscat was like, look, I'm going to do this. Seems like he's going to do this, and they couldn't agree, and so Muscat stayed. You bring in Danny Roll. You mentioned his pedigree with just the mess that Sheffield Wednesday was going through. Russell Martin, who in numerous gigs has been very, very stubborn in his tactics and not wanting to change, and he's just going to do things his way, and it hasn't worked in the last couple of gigs. It's been very, very short-term patience with him. So Russell Martin out, Danny Roll in, and you will see one of the best heads of hair in the league.
You're impressed by Danny Roll's hair?
Oh, it is a fantastic head of lettuce.
Head of lettuce.
It is there. I mean, it is elevated. It is, it is. I don't think there's any hairspray in it. I think it is naturally elevated. It's a nice head.
Does he use any pomade or anything like that?
No, but if he does, you can't
gel?
tell. I don't think you could tell if there's any gel because it doesn't look like it's slicked back or like there's anything added to it. It's just like it's naturally elevated.
Naturally elevated.
Naturally elevated. It's a big old helmet.
I'm skeptical.
Big old helmet.
But okay. We'll see if that helps him at Rangers. He might need the big old helmet to prevent things hitting him in the head because there's no telling. The thing about Rangers that's a little different than Celtic in the sense of what's expected. I think at Celtic there's a greater expectation. Both have the high expectation of winning. At Celtic, there's a little bit more of an expectation of entertaining. At Rangers, they could care less. Yeah. It's just about winning. That's why Russell Martin wasn't necessarily a great fit. I do want to transition, though, from somebody who, as you say, is stubborn in their tactics in the way that they want to play and really unyielding to change, to another manager who has been criticized and talked about in that way, Ruben Amorim. Have the apology lessons went out this week? Did they go out yesterday? They gone out this morning?
I ain't seen nothing yet.
Back-to-back wins. First time beating Liverpool at Anfield in a long, long time, about a decade. They get the big win against Liverpool yesterday. I thought they looked really good in doing it. It wasn't a fluky kind of win. They were the better team in general that Liverpool had their home. They had plenty of the ball. They had their opportunities, but you got an early goal, and then that's later. You battled and battled and battled, and you conceded. But then 6 minutes later, you get the Bruno Fernandes cross to Harry Maguire, and the header home. It was a really good header from Harry Maguire. One of the players who has just become a whipping boy for a lot of people, and he's not what a lot of people have said he is. He's a very good player. He's a very good leader, and you saw the reaction to him when he got that goal yesterday. Look, is it all like roses and flowers for Manchester United? No, but they're in ninth place. They were only 5 points off of Liverpool before yesterday. Now they're 2. Liverpool's struggling right now. We'll get to that in a second, but Manchester United haven't been able to generate momentum until now. It's the first back-to-back wins for Amorim since taking over. But here's the thing that people always get hung up on when we talk about philosophy, game model. A lot of people call it tactics across the board. Tactics are game to game. You saw different tactics yesterday from Ruben Amorim, but you saw the same structure. Structure stays, tactics evolve game to game. You saw them sit a little bit deeper. You saw them deal with things from their structure, from their idea of playing. They had to drop off more. They had to manage things differently. They did it. And they had to deal with a lot of attacking talent for Liverpool. I think they neutralized it as well as anybody has as of late. And they got the job done. Is Ruben Amorim the best manager in the world right now? No. But is he as bad as people have said? Also, no. And this idea that managers can't have a philosophy, I think is crazy talk. I think you have to. I think your tactics game to game need to evolve depending on your opponent, depending on who you have to select, depending on where your strengths are, where the opponent's weaknesses are, all those kinds of things, sure. But when we talk about tactics changing game to game, it's not to say, oh, this game, I'm going to press the button to become a pressing team now. Oh, this game, I'm going to sit back and be a counterattack team. Oh, this game, I'm going to high press. No, that's not how it works. You have a structure. You have a set of principles. You have a game model. You got the rule book. You've got the wireframe. And then you paint within that box. You then evolve and tweak things game to game. Ruben Amorim, I hope he gets it going because he's been a very good manager up to this point in his career. I think he's taken a lot of hits. I think the club has taken a lot of hits because they've stood by him. I think it's good to stick by him in this case. Let's see if it pays off. And frankly, let's see if he can get a little more talent in to do more with what he's got because I don't think he's got enough. I think he's outperforming the talent that he has right now being enough.
They've won 3 out of their last 4, and I know that Surgeon Ratcliffe had a lot of spidey senses when it came to the Manchester United fan base, kind of fired up a little bit when he said, no, let's judge him on 3 years and to be patient with him. And everybody was like, well, what? Why should we judge him on 3 years? If, now.
The short-term nature of where we've gotten with this stuff is not good for clubs. It's not. Sometimes do you have to? Absolutely. There's no absolutes. I think that's the thing I want to get across here. Is there's no absolutes in you should give every manager 3 years, or you should always expect multiple wins in the first month or fire the first year. Like, no. What Sir Jim Ratcliffe said, I don't believe is going to be hard and fast for 3 years. If it runs off a cliff, then they're going to make a change. What our buddy at Nottingham Forest did is stupid and moronic, and it was a dumb hire. And anybody who wants to go there, no surprise who it looks like is going to go there in this case, anybody who wants to go there should have their head examined because you're going to deal with a nutty owner who's going to run on the field and yell at you in public. You're going to deal with a nutty owner who has a disagreement with the manager and then tells him to leave after having a great season. Then you're going to have a nutty owner who goes out and hires somebody who has a completely different game model than the previous guy and the roster that is built for him. And then you're not going to have any patience, and you're going to fire that guy after he doesn't get a win in 39 days because he's got a team that doesn't fit what he wants to do. You're asking him to make filet mignon, and you're giving him catfish. It doesn't work.
Because you have a nutty owner.
I'm nutty is the nice way to put it.
Absolutely. Evangelinas Marinakis is a half bubble off plum, as they say here in the Sun.
A half bubble off plum?
You've never heard of that?
No. Where is that from?
Okay, so when you have architects, craftsmen building a house, and you're trying to make something level, you're trying to have like a level table.
Yeah, no, I get it.
And you have the level itself, and you have the watermark inside the level that tells you whether or not
no, I understand
flat.
it. Yeah.
If the watermark is off center, it's off plumb.
Yeah.
So it's taking that bubble of water and it's not quite on the line flat. So it's a half bubble off.
No, John. I understand what the phrase means. Yeah. I get it. I've never heard it before.
Never heard it?
No, I've never, ever heard that term. Huh. I'm trying to see where that originates from.
Huh. I just always associated it as a southern thing.
I've never heard it.
Never heard a half bubble off.
No clue where that comes from. No clue. I'm sure people out there are like, oh, yeah, I've heard that. I have not. I've never heard that term. Wow.
But, yeah, for Evangelinas Marinakis at Nottingham Forest, basically to turn his managerial philosophy into the shooting gallery at the amusement park where you sit there and you hit the duck and it goes this way, you hit the duck and it goes this way. Literally, that's what you've got. You've got the back and forth right now. It's silly. And he deserves what he gets by being this whiplashy when it comes to his managerial acquisition.
Well, now he's going to hire somebody who fits what Nuno Espirito Santo had before, which he should have hired in the first place, in Sean Dyche, who is about as adventurous as, I don't know, sloth.
This paper bag, the plastic bag.
Sorry. He's not going to. Sean Dyche is not going to do anything that's going to surprise.
I'm surprised Big Sam didn't send the CV to Maryland.
He probably did. Reportedly, Roberto Mancini was sounded out about it, and that didn't go very flat. I don't know. I'm not quite sure where that one went. It got out in the Italian media. Luciano Spalletti, formerly of Napoli, formerly of the Italian national team, reportedly was a candidate according to the Italian media. I don't think either one got very far because it sounded like it was Dyche even before the firing. Then immediately afterwards, there were people running with Mancini. I think it's been Dyche. I mean, that's the only one that really makes sense here. Because if I'm Mancini, if I'm Spalletti, I'm not taking it to work for Marinakis. No way.
I mean, you mentioned the run in on the field that he had with Nuno.
And I'm not a big Nuno fan, by the way.
No,
I'm not. I don't like his style of football. I think he did great last year with it and had them outperform what they should have done. And it was because of what he did. He had a great year as a manager. I don't like his style. But when you have a style of play and you move on from the manager, you have to think about who you hire next. Am I going to evolve it? Okay, I'm going to need some time then. Or am I going to try to get the most out of what I have, which means I need to go find a manager who is somewhat similar to what I have, because that's going to be able to fit in better. If you go hire Ange Postecoglou, who wants to play on the front foot, versus Nuno and Sean Dyche, who want to play on the back foot, you're going to struggle. There's just no way around it. You had no time to build the team. You had no time in a transfer window. You had no time to do anything. So you were set up to fail. I don't know why Postecoglou took it. Now, that's my question for him, is why would you take that job? Because you know you're going to fail for a while. Maybe he was promised he'd get time, and if he was, then it's even worse for Marinakis. But he shouldn't have taken the job when he did. That's on him, and he didn't make it work, and it was bad, and it maybe was getting a little better, but not really. You had a lot of limitations for what he could do with that group of players. Sean Dyche will do better than Ange Postecoglou did, because you've got a set of players that has played in this way for the most part. I mean, of course, you always have changes, and players can adapt to a point too, but not 0 to 100. They can adapt 0 to 20 in a month and a week, because that's basically all Ange got.
In Marinakis, you're talking about an owner who basically was written up by the FA because he was alleged to have spit at the feet of a center ref, and his defense was, "Oh no, I smoke a lot of cigars. I was basically hocking up, and that was where it went when I was hocking up, because I was at a coffee fit."
Sure.
That's the kind of guy that you're dealing with here.
You're dealing with a guy who came out of the stands to yell at Nuno about a substitution situation late last season, and Nuno was not in the wrong there, if I remember correctly.
No, he wasn't. He was
Like-
cutting him off from talking to the physio.
Yeah, it was an awkward situation, if I remember, about what the physio said and dealing with the sub, and there was a lot of confusion. But yeah, I mean, when you have something like that happen, and we said it then, it's like you need to go. And then they bring in the new sporting director, and he doesn't get along with Nuno, and it just gets even worse. And just no, it will be better with Sean Dyche, but it's a mess right now, and we'll see. We'll see where Ange ends up going, because I think he's a very good manager given the right situation. We'll see. He's also probably a little tainted at the moment because of how it went at Tottenham Hotspur, because of how it went at Nottingham Forest. People are going to have their opinions about him that I think are unfair, but let's see what happens. All right, let's go to a couple more things before the Champions League. Over in South Korea, the K-League, Jeonbuk Motors, they clinched their first title in 4 seasons. Gus Poyet, another one of the former managers that we hear quite a lot about from the Premier League, he is in South Korea. They won 2-0 over Suwon FC. Unassailable 16-point lead with 5 games left. Italian striker Andrea Campagno gave Jeonbuk the lead in the 2nd minute, and then a penalty from Thiago Arubo in the 62nd confirmed the win. It's their 10th league title of all time. The Australian League got underway on Saturday. Melbourne City 1-1 draw with Western Sydney Wanderers. Adelaide United 2-1 win over Sydney FC. Brisbane Roar won 1-0 over MacArthur FC. And Central Coast handed Derby rivals Newcastle Jets a 3-2 loss.
The ending of that game is
Which game?
Central.
Okay.
The end of that match is up on social media, and you had I think it was a big PK save to preserve the margin. And so go and watch, because if the first weekend is going to be like that, and you have moments like that across the board, it's going to be a fun watch. And I know that Bam will be more than happy to tell us about everything going on that we're going to do.
Yeah, I believe Bam is with us tonight, unless he's falling asleep, which is very possible. If you're awake, Bam, I'd love your thoughts on the A-League getting started. I know there's been some some talk about kind of where the A-League goes from here. I think the progress has stalled a little bit, and I'd like to see them figure out how they can continue to grow. You've got the second division that's underway now. I want to see where this can continue to get to, because I used to watch the A-League a good bit when it was on the Fox Soccer Channel.
Fox Soccer. Yeah, Fox Soccer.
It was on Fox Soccer Channel for a while. I don't know who's got the rights to it now in the U.S. If anybody, it might be on YouTube.
I think it is.
J League's on YouTube. Asian Champions League and stuff is on YouTube. So, yeah, I'm not sure if the A League is on YouTube or not.
So we need our intel to figure out where we can watch the A League.
Yeah, Bam, you gotta help us.
Yeah, that's what we're here for. Bam, let us know. We have to know, so that way we can be kept up to date on everything and set our notifications appropriately on social media.
All right, let's get into Champions League this week. The game that I'm looking forward to the most is Arsenal and Atleti. That's tomorrow. That's a 3 o'clock game. You get Mikel Arteta and Diego Simeone for the first time facing off. Arteta has talked in the pregame presser about, one, if Simeone wanted to come to the Premier League, he thinks he'd do very well. Said if he works in the Champions League, which is the highest competition in Europe, he can do it anywhere. And I don't know, you have to come here and try it and feel it. But I'm very sure that his know-how is unbelievable, and his character and willingness will take him anywhere. Atletico, very defensive. Arsenal's been really good defensively so far this season. They've only conceded 3 goals in all competitions. Piero Nkapie, he could make his full Arsenal debut after recovering from a groin problem. He missed Saturday's 1-0 win over Fulham. Arsenal 3 points clear at the top of the league in England. Champions League, they got 2 wins so far. They haven't conceded yet. They are doing very, very well. And if they get a win against Atleti, it would be their 100th in the Champions League.
Portagana and Sheldon, the byline at the Athletic. Atletico Madrid made a complaint to Arsenal after experiencing a hot water shortage in the Emirates dressing room as they trained before the Champions League tie.
Well, that's not cool.
Atleti trained in the rain at the Emirates on Monday and squad were unable to have a hot shower on the premises afterwards due to an issue sources at the Spanish club allege went unfixed for over an hour, instead returning to their hotel. The loss of hot water impacted both dressing rooms, with the issue resolved within 40 minutes of Arsenal being alerted to it before Atleti had been due to finish training. But Diego Simeone's side ended their session early. Premier League club apologized to their La Liga counterparts for the inconvenience. UEFA lists showers with hot water as something that team dressing rooms must be equipped with to meet the governing body's stadium infrastructure regulations, but this relates to the hosting of competition matches as opposed to training sessions.
Right.
And so UEFA had been contacted by the Athletic for comment.
They'll get fined.
This sounds straight out of, like when Iowa used to paint the visiting dressing room pink.
Wow, you're cynical. Maybe they just have a hot water problem.
Maybe they did. Maybe it was just one of those hot water.
I mean, I'm sorry. Like, if you think that not having hot water after a training session is going to be that disruptive, if that's your plan to get under somebody's skin, get a better plan. Really? Like, you can go back to the hotel and take a hot shower?
Yeah, I mean, literally, the second if I were anybody attached to Atleti and I noticed that players start going in, water's cold, I'm shutting it down. Everybody bundle up, get on the bus. We're heading back to the hotel. That's my instant decision. Instead of sitting there and, I mean, look, when we're in our, we're in our homes and everything, sit there for the first one to turn the water on, to want to take a hot shower, you turn it on. Sometimes it takes a little while to warm up. That's just how the pipes are sometimes. But in this kind of a situation, it's like, look, I don't have time to mess with this ish. I'm going back to the hotel and take a hot shower and sit.
You got to think about the logistics here. As Hutch lets us know that the A-League's available on ESPN Select and ESPN Unlimited in the U.S. I wonder if it's on ESPN Plus. I've not gone ESPN Unlimited yet, just because Comcast hasn't done that yet. I'm not going to pay separate for it. Right. I think Spectrum has, and a couple other cable providers. You get ESPN Unlimited as part of it. Xfinity will, but they haven't yet, so I'm not paying for that yet. I'll have to check and see if it's on ESPN Plus. It's silly. But no, logistics of this sort of situation. You're going to train. You're going back to the hotel anyway. You're not going to eat your meal at the stadium. You're going to go back to the hotel. It's not disruptive at all. You just are going to get back to the hotel early, and people will go shower. If it's after the game, that's more disruptive because you're probably going to want to take your showers at the stadium. You're probably going straight to the airport. You're probably on a chartered flight back to Spain. Worst case, you're going to stink on the plane a little bit more than you'd like to, but it's not the end of the world. I don't think this was subterfuge because I don't think you're getting anything out of it. I don't think doing something like this to potentially give Diego Simeone some kind of fuel to tell his players, look what they did to you. Let's go beat them senselessly.
You only got cold water in the stadium. Be that much more angry.
I mean, Simeone will use it because he'll use anything for that, but there's nothing to it. Bayern, they have been ridiculously good so far this season in Champions League and in just the run play in the Bundesliga. They are hosting Club Brugge on Wednesday. 10 wins in a row. They are scoring a bunch of goals and not giving many up. That's a pretty good recipe for success. They beat Chelsea 3-1 in Munich. They are killing it at the moment. Harry Kane has 22 goals in his last 14 matches. 15 goals coming in his last 8 with Bayern and with England. He scored in the 2-1 win over Borussia Dortmund in the Bundesliga on Saturday. Hosting Club Brugge on Wednesday, they should roll.
They are a minus 500 in juice boxes. Bruges plus 1280.
We'll get into picks of the week here coming up soon. We'll talk more juice boxes. We have the team sheet for picks of the week. We have the board done. We have a champion from last week. I believe we have a record score so far in 2025. So we will talk about that. It was an epic comeback as well because the winner was not winning at the start of the day on Saturday. Manchester City in Champions League, they are at Villarreal tomorrow in the 3 o'clock window. Erling Haaland has been killing it as of late. 23 goals in 13 matches, including 10 in his last 5 with City and with Norway. He had both goals in the win over Everton on Saturday. He's the fastest player to 50 goals in the Champions League. He scored twice when City drew 2-2 at Monaco earlier this month. They got the win over Napoli in Game 1. They're going to be missing Rodri in this one tomorrow, and we know how that affected them last year, but they should be okay against Villarreal, who has 1 draw in 2 in Champions League.
Yeah, I think that as pesky as La Liga teams traditionally are in European competitions, I think that Manchester City can work their way around it. I think it'll probably be tighter than a lot of folks may anticipate just because it's at Villarreal, but I think that by the end of the day, it's probably going to be one of those 1-goal games that Manchester City will sit there and it'll either be 1 or 2 things. They'll get a lead, they'll give up an equalizer, and then 10 to go. Pep will make a substitution. That'll flip the switch, and it'll be 2-1 final. Or it'll be just one of those where they get the goal early and they try to navigate it the rest of the way. But I think it's going to be a 1-goal game. Manchester City gets full points by the time.
So next one on the board that I wanted to mention is a Wednesday game at 3 o'clock. Real Madrid and Juventus. Kylian Mbappe, he's got 18 goals in 14 games with Madrid and with France, 9 in his last 6. He had the winner for Madrid in their 1-0 win at Getafe on Sunday. He is set to become the youngest player to make 90 appearances in the Champions League. Right now, that record is held by Raul, a former Real Madrid great. He was 27 years old when he reached that mark. Kylian Mbappe, 26. Yeah. He is going to be the all-time leading scorer in World Cup history. He's going to be the all-time leading scorer probably in the Champions League down the road, although Erling Haaland might keep him out of it. He is going to be the record holder for the youngest to 90 games. Madrid, 2 wins in Champions League so far. The Italians, Juventus, 2 draws in Champions League against Dortmund and at Villarreal. They lost 2-0 at Como in Serie A on Sunday. There's a lot of pressure on Igor Tudor right now. Juve had not lost to Como in the top flight since the 50s.
Ooh, I want to say it's like 52.
Something like that.
That's crazy to think that Como got that result, and of course that'll just ramp up any kind of pressure. Pressure's normal at Juve.
Como's legit though. Like Como is
like 6th or 7th in the table.
Yeah, Cesc Fabregas is doing an amazing job there. Nico Paz is an awesome player. They're going to be a handful. Like we'll see if they can maintain it. If like right now, you could say they're almost becoming the new Atalanta. in a team that's going to consistently punch above their weight. Let's see how consistently they can do it, and let's see if they can go from being a pesky third, fourth, fifth kind of team to a title contender. That's going to be the next step. And we'll see if Fabregas can get there. We'll see if they can hold on to him long enough for that to happen. That's going to be tricky. He's one of the guys that will be in high demand when big jobs open up. 6 teams have won both games so far in Champions League. One of those 6 is Karabakh from Azerbaijan. They're going to go for 3 in a row when they visit winless Athletic Bilbao on Wednesday. Karabakh had never won a game in Champions League before. Now they're 2 out of 2. The others with 2 wins, defending champions PSG. They visit Leverkusen on Tuesday. Inter, they were the runners-up to PSG last year. They visit Belgium's Union Saint-Gilloise on Tuesday. Both of them have Inter and PSG. Both have won both of their games so far. Liverpool have not. Liverpool are now in the midst of a 4-game losing streak. They lost to Manchester United yesterday. They lost to Galatasaray in their second game in Champions League. Mo Salah, a lot of people are saying he shouldn't be starting right now. He is trying to get to 50 in the Champions League. He's got 48 right now. He'd be the first African player to get to 50 goals in Champions League. Liverpool is kind of falling into the category that we see at times where you're very good and you go out and you try to get better and you actually get worse because you bought a whole bunch of players that are good players, but it's not fitting together. Florian Wirtz is not looking like the Florian Wirtz we saw in the Bundesliga. Alexander Isak is not looking like the Alexander Isak we saw at Newcastle. Hugo Ekitike, I think, is looking okay. Maybe should be playing more.
And that's what folks are saying is that they need to swap in Ekitike for Isak. And that's the hue and cry. I mean, I'm not saying there's any logic attached to it. I'm just saying that right now everybody's like, oh, you've got to put Ekitike in and bring Isak out because Isak's having problems. So
you could do that, and you're going to get different things out of it. But yes, you could do that because Isak is not looking comfortable right now. He's not looking confident. You could definitely make a change there. Sometimes you just meddle too much. Sometimes you have all the money and you want to go spend it, and you probably shouldn't have spent it. I'm curious to see where this goes. I thought Arne Slot would have these kind of problems last year. He didn't. Full credit to him. Now, he's got some issues. 4 losses in a row is a problem. You go back and you look at the wins they had earlier where they were winning games in the last 10 minutes consistently. You can't live that life very long. And if some of those don't go your way, then Liverpool is in a full-blown crisis. Of course, you lose 4 in a row and everybody's going, crisis. Oh, no. Like, they're a good team. But they've got some structural issues. How good are they? I don't know yet. I don't think they're as good as they were last year in terms of the way they fit together. And it's not easy to go back to that when you've brought in all this talent and you've got to get Wirtz, you've got to get Ekitike, you've got to get Isak going.
And think about the games early where they rescued games. And it literally was bringing on one of your teenagers and the teenager being in the right place at the right time, north of 90 minutes to rescue a win in a back and forth game. So you're teetering on that edge, and you've done it early on. The ones were turning into threes, meaning points on the board. Then we go from a draw to a win. Right now, you're hitting that rough patch, and you're trying to figure out how to turn the car over again. And to your point, I think the larger issue is you've got all this money, you're bringing all these toys, then how do they fit? And it's right now you're trying to figure out how they fit, and that's the adventure that Arne Slot has to figure out. Do they fit? Where do they fit? How do they fit? And right now, it just ain't fit.
It's not. We'll see if he can figure that out. Barcelona, they're trying to make up some lost ground in Champions League. They lost to PSG last time out. They're hosting Olympiacos at the Olympic Stadium on Tuesday. Hansi Flick will be on the touchline for this one. He won't be on the touchline for El Clasico on Sunday. He got sent off over the weekend in La Liga. Lamine Yamal set to become the youngest player to make 25 appearances in Champions League. Right now, the youngest is 19-year-old Warren Zaire-Emery from PSG. Chelsea, they've only got 1 win so far in Champions League. They lost to Bayern. They host Ajax, who has not won so far. It'll be Chelsea's 200th match in the Champions League proper. Ajax's 250th in European Cup and Champions League history. Benfica is still looking for a win as well. Jose Mourinho, they visit Newcastle on Tuesday. What are the numbers in that one?
Hang on. That one is Benfica is a big underdog. Newcastle -172 in the composite, courtesy of our friends at Odds Portal. Draws the +3.25. Benfica at +447.
Oof.
Uh-huh.
What else is on your mind, John? You didn't get to have SDHAM today because of, I believe it was part of the AWS outages all over the world. I don't think we couldn't get the Canva designs done. There were all kinds of things going on. And, our hosting partners at Restream were dealing with it as well.
Oh, boy. Yeah, that was straight up pickup notices. Morocco won the U20.
Morocco won the U20s. Yep, 2-0 win. Second African team to win it. First win for Morocco. Second, Ghana won it in the past. Really good. I mean, we talked about it last week. Is Morocco a power now? No, we'll find out next summer. If their senior team gets to the quarterfinals, I'll put them in the power category. If they go semis, quarters, and back-to-back, and have a U20 title mixed in, yeah, then they're a power for now. You've got a lot of young talent coming. We'll see if any of these U20s end up impacting the senior team next summer.
And the run that the youth teams have had with the Moroccan,
You had the Olympic run to a medal recently.
and there was a rundown of like the most recent things that they had accomplished, and literally it was all of this investment, all these different competitions where they had. I'm trying to find it. And of course, I'm sitting here trying to fish for it, but just they were like the last 6 tournaments that they were eligible. And I'm not just talking U20s, but across the board in other tournaments as well, U17s, et cetera. I want to say in the last 6 tournaments where anything that was attached to an under squad, they had finished 4th or better in like the last 6 tournaments that they had been engaged in. So it's been fun to see this investment at the youth level for Morocco, and to see where they are. It should not be a surprise anymore that they are doing this well in the youth tournaments. I'm waiting for it to translate, obviously, to the larger adult age tournaments as well. But you're seeing the growth and you're seeing these early returns. I want to see it get to these next stages like we've discussed.
Rich giving me some props from my El Salvador kid tonight, of course, from one of my Fobac folks. They're actually based in El Salvador, so I feel like they're wearing the Fobac. It's fun. But still, it's actually getting cold here in Atlanta. This morning it was in the 40s. Tonight it's going to get down to the 40s. It'll probably be in the 50s by the time we leave here. It's finally fall.
Okay, here it is.
What you got?
2022 senior national team finishes 4th at the World Cup. Olympic team wins bronze at the Paris Games. U20 team reaches World Cup final in 25. That's just like the last 3. U17 and U23, they won AFCON. And so literally this is what you're seeing with this group. And that's what, 5 tournaments where they have made some noise, and they beat the 6-time winner Argentina to win the U20 in Chile this time. So what Mwabi has been doing, the architect of this project, 5 tournaments where they've made a lot of noise. So I'm really impressed with what I'm seeing out of Morocco. What are the next steps? Oh, and here we go. Okay, so male national teams in the last decade. 2025 U20 World Cup finals. And then they obviously won. Best winning streak for the senior team in history. 2018, 2020, 2025 CHAN winners. 25 U17 AFCON. 24 Olympic bronze for the men. 4th place in the 22 World Cup. 23 U23 AFCON winners. So that's what? 3, 6, 7, 8 tournaments, basically in tournament play dating back to 2018, where they've won one tournament 3 times in the last 7 years. So 7 times male national teams in the last decade have made some noise for Morocco's.
Impressive. Very impressive.
Graham Potter had his press conference with the Swedish national team.
Yeah, I don't like this move for Graham Potter. He's another one of these guys that I like as a coach. I'd like to see him go somewhere where he can build and build a team and have some time. He takes a short-term deal with Sweden to try to get them into the World Cup. He should have at least gotten a contract through the next Euro. Because they're probably not going to get into the World Cup. It's very slim chance of them pulling this off to get into the playoff and then get into the World Cup in March. Maybe there's no other opportunity out there for him right now. I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. But I think he's a guy that I would like to see go somewhere and have time to work. I don't know if he's going to get that with a national team. If he was going to take a national team gig, he should have got a little more job security or asked for it. I don't know. It feels weird. I mean, he's got the connections in Sweden, so like there's an obvious pull from being there in his earlier stages of his career. I get it, but this is a weird one. Maybe it is just I'm going to try to save this, and if I don't, then I'll go take another coaching gig somewhere else. But if he doesn't have success in this, then you got a lot of dings on him. And then it gets harder to get the kind of job that I feel like he should get based off his quality. But his recent results haven't been great.
And obviously, some folks might have been taken aback a little bit if they were watching the press conference, but he answered questions in very fluent Swedish.
Yeah.
And because of the history and the background that he has there. So it was, people might have just been drifting into a press conference and seeing Graham Potter sitting there and just saying pitch perfect contextual Swedish.
Well, people in Sweden were not.
No, but
surprised.
Outside of the country, it's like, oh, what's Graham Potter up to? Click. He's like, oh, what's that? So with his history with was it Östersund?
Yeah, they were in the 4th division when he went there in 2011.
And so, it was him with that press conference. It's a short-term gig. Once again, trying to see if they can qualify. It's going to be a long road. Maybe it's just Graham Potter, just idle hands. He doesn't want to. And so it's just like, I want to try and stay busy, and this is a short-term challenge, and we'll see what happens here. But if this, to your point, then it's something else that he took and didn't work. I mean, West Ham, frankly, they're going to be in relegation scrap this year. It is not good for them right now. So you keep working backward with Graham Potter, and he doesn't do anything in the national team. Yeah, it's a short-term gig, but he doesn't do anything at West Ham. They're in a relegation fight. So how many dings are you going to put on Graham Potter going forward? I think it's going to be a lot.
Yeah, I just don't see them making this work. I'm going to pull up kind of what they have to do here. They got 2 games left to try to get into the playoff. So right now they're in last in Group B. They're on 1 point. They can only get to 7. Kosovo's on 7. So 1 point for Kosovo, and Sweden's eliminated. So when you look at what's coming up, Sweden has to go to Switzerland in their first game in November. Switzerland is leading the group on 10 points right now, so that's not likely. Then you host Slovenia. You also, in addition to winning those 2, you also have to hope that Slovenia beats Kosovo, which would take Slovenia to 6. So then you go into the last round of games, Switzerland on 10, Kosovo on 7, Slovenia on 6, Sweden on 4. Then you would have to beat Slovenia, and that would take you to 7, and you jump Slovenia. And then you would have to have Switzerland go to Kosovo and win. And you would also have to overturn 4 goals in the goal differential to jump Kosovo when you're both on 7. So is it possible? Yes. Is it likely? No. And then 2 games and he's done. Like, I just don't get it.
He may, I'll take it. We'll see. Kicking tires, just staying busy. I don't know. I mean, literally, it's like maybe somebody's got to buy Christmas gifts or something. Sit there, it's like you get this, and get a couple matches in a window, and you get a paycheck, and it's like, oh, Christmas. I don't know. Okay. Yeah, that's so. Like I said, I'm grasping. I don't know. And this other one, it's a couple days old, but I thought it was interesting. And once again, you can take the information and the effort as much as you wish. According to reports, Japan is seriously considering leaving the Asian Football Confederation and forming a new East Asian Football Confederation.
I'm going to stop you there before you go too far down this road, because I think this has been mostly debunked.
Yeah.
It was from very low-level sources who there have been no follow-ups on it. So I do not believe that there's actually any to this.
And it's just the machinations that would be attached to try and do something like this and all the approvals, even if it got down the road.
Well, like FIFA just could say no.
Yeah.
So,
no, it's not going to happen. So you're stuck.
You can do what you want, but no.
And so that's...
They could go to Oceania.
Yeah.
That would be where they would go.
Yeah. And so
you're not going to create a new confederation under FIFA. They're not going to allow it. That's why this is not accurate.
Because you're sitting there and it's like, well, no, because we have this layout of how many bids and how many folks and how many confederations. And no, we're not going to have them. We're happy with the way things are right now. There was, what was the other thing? I was in the Premier League looking at what happened there this past weekend. Once again, I know that it's early returns and all of this, but if you're looking for those Cinderellas right now in the Premier League, obviously you've got to look at somebody like Sunderland and what they've been able to do out of the blocks.
Yeah.
And right now, there's a group, and like I said, we're 8 matches, but you look from 2 to 9, and you're separated by 3 points. Right now, you've got Bournemouth in 4th, and you have Semenyo, who is just an amazing talent, who is going to, when the Cherries get to that point, when someone comes knocking on their door and they want to pay an exorbitant amount of money to send Semenyo on, it would be yet another great pickup for that club and their department to bring in talent for Andoni Iraola. And they do well in the short term. You get a couple of seasons under their belt, they move on. It's another great financial windfall for them, and then they continue to invest in the right way. Bournemouth right now, 4th in the table, 4-3-1, and they're at 15 points. They've drawn 3 of their last 4. Then you have Sunderland, who's currently in 7th right now at 4-2-2, and they're doing it with defense. They've only given up 6 goals so far. They've only scored 9, but it's been very, very strategic. They've won 2 out of their last 3. But then you look at the bottom. We've mentioned our friends at Nottingham Forest and how much fun that is to watch. West Ham right now is 4 points. They've lost 4 of their last 5. They have 1 win in their first 8. Not to be outdone, Wolves have not won a match this year, and they are 0-2-6, and they are at minus 11 goal difference. They're giving up an average of 2 goals a match. They've only scored 5 in their first 8. So Wolves, West Ham, Forest, and then 2 points up to Burnley, who's getting some strategic results early on to stay out of the fight. There's traffic at the top, and there's a group at the bottom. So it's the way that it always is so far. But it's the names that have changed so far.
I'm interested to see where things go. Brentford gets a 2-0 win today at West Ham. Right now, in the relegation side of it, talked about West Ham earlier. They're on 4 points, Wolves on 2, Forest on 5. Those are your 3 in the bad spots.
Did you see the crowd that was there?
Did not.
A lot of empty seats.
I know, it's crazy. We've had this conversation here in Atlanta lately. Teams that aren't winning, people find reasons not to go to the game. Like, that's just normal across sports. Like, it's difficult. Like, we don't have the same conversation. Like, I hear people saying, here with Atlanta United, like, oh, well, if they don't win next year, then it's all going to fall apart. It's like, no. Did we say that about West Ham? No. Like, win more, and people show up.
Yeah.
Win more, and then people say, you know what, I can't skip this game. I need to go. You don't win a lot. People say, well, the kids got stuff to do. I'm going to watch a different game on TV. That's normal because you have your hardcore fans that are going to come no matter what. And then you have, every club has it, a large number of more casual fans. Give people a reason to come, they're going to come. Give people a reason not to come, they're going to choose not to come. And when you're not winning, they're going to choose not to come. Yeah. Ahead of Forest in single digits on points. Newcastle's on 9 and 14. They'll be fine. Fulham's on 8. Leeds on 8. Burnley's on 7.
Fulham's lost 3.
They've lost 3 in a row. Forest has lost 3 in a row. Those are the 2 who have lost the most in a row in this bottom end. I do think West Ham will get out of this. Yeah, I do. I think they have more talent than the teams around them. I don't know about Burnley. They beat Leeds, and those are 2 teams that I don't know about either one of them. So maybe Burnley will come to Leeds. I don't know. I think Fulham will be okay. I think Newcastle will be fine. I look at Wolves, Forest, Burnley, Leeds. I think West Ham is the best of those. I think they're the best of the bottom 5. I think they will get out. I just think talent's going to come through at some point. I don't think Leeds and Burnley have enough talent. We'll see if Sean Dyche can bore us all to death and get Forest out of the relegation spots. He probably will. But I think West Ham got too much talent to be worth it.
Yeah, and look at the next round of matches, and you're staring at Bournemouth and Nottingham Forest. You're looking at how one team has applied themselves with their philosophy when it comes to their departments across the board, and you're seeing the successes of Bournemouth. and Nottingham Forest, who is in managerial chaos and utter chaos right now. It's going to be an interesting watch at the Vitality on the weekend to see what Bournemouth has become and what Nottingham Forest has not become as they go up against each other. And then Wolves and Burnley. Wolves and Burnley going up against each other on Sunday morning. The Wolves is actually favored at home at the Molineux, and Burnley is a big underdog in that one. But Sunderland's and Chelsea, Fulham's, Newcastle, West Ham, and Leeds. But yeah, Sunday morning, Bournemouth Forest, Wolves and Burnley, and we probably should catch up with our friend Poppy Miller and find out how her heart rate is on a weekly basis with her beloved Forest.
Not good with Forest these days. Again, the heart rate will go down because Sean Dyche will bore you to tears, but they might get some results, and that's probably what they need to do at this stage. Sadly. Before we get into picks of the week, it is an anniversary today. 49 years ago today, Diego Armando Maradona made his professional debut for Argentinos Juniors against Talleres at 16 years old in the Primera División. 49 years ago today. I think El Gráfico out of Argentina had some footage that they found recently of some of the coverage of that, which is pretty cool. Yeah, 49 years ago.
I'd love to see what that footage looks like.
As I'm exploring and experimenting with TikTok, I have enjoyed finding Diego Maradona TikTok and people posting compilations of stuff, and a lot of it I've already seen in various forums, but seeing it in that space is cool. I went to the Atlanta United RDS camp on Friday up in Norcross, Sandy Springs area, and it was cool as Josh Cohen came out and was talking to the kids. Josh was great with the kids. Me and Joe Freihofer were there as well. We were talking to the kids, and after Josh spoke, Joe and I were both like, we're lucky to work in the game. We wanted to be pros like Josh. We didn't get there, but we found a way to stay connected and work in the game. And one of them asked, I think who our favorite players were or something. And I mentioned Diego Maradona, and one of these kids is probably 9 or 10 years old. It's like, I know who Diego Maradona is. Yes, that's my favorite kid I've ever met. This is great. We're still keeping the young generation knowing who the greatest is.
And I think that's part of our charge, actually, in those instances.
That's why I share most of the Diego Maradona TikToks that I see.
And I've just always thought that it's important for us as students to remind everyone about stars of the past, matches of the past, tournaments of the past, the environments, the cities, all of the great fan bases in the stadium. So it's not left behind by our generation. Those of us that are of a certain age and covering everything. It's like, go ahead. It's cool to share because you never know what window you open up in situation.
Yeah, that's what's cool about this is we get to go through these different generations and talk about it and explain it to people. We're going to get into picks of the week. I am last week's picks. I don't have it in front of me. They were. So we can go through what happened last week. Okay, so last week we picked Qatar and the UAE in a World Cup qualifier. Qatar got the win in that one. Wednesday it was the Kakamega Homeboys and Bidco United in the Kenyan Premier League. The Homeboys won that one.
3-0, baby.
Yeah, Marathon and Real España.
And that was on TV too, and I was watching that one. It was oh boy! I mean, it was.
Well, welcome to the Under.
I know, and it was challenging weather. I know. Once again, welcome to the Under.
Yep, that also happened.
And it was a fun watch, and it was as normally
scoreless
draw. As normally chippy as you would expect in a situation like that. But it was a fun watch, even though there were. Picks of the week.
Scoreless draw in that one. Thursday, UEFA Women's Champions League. It was Atleti hosting Manchester United. Manchester United went there and won as an underdog. Friday, it actually was not Friday because welcome to CAF Champions League games. Didn't happen when they want to. The Mamelodi Sundowns, that one was on Sunday. They won. So with that going to Sunday, that helped create a big-time comeback situation in the table. Saturday, it was Pisa and Hellas Verona, and that was a scoreless draw. It was bad. They're two bad teams, so not a shock. Portland Timbers and San Diego was also Saturday, and San Diego won. They were the road favorite. They lived up to that with a big win. And then Sunday, it was the Liverpool-Manchester United game. Manchester United is a big underdog, got the win. The prop bet was the number of goals in the first legs of final qualifying round for the CAF Champions League. There were supposed to be 16 games. 14 games were played. If you were within 5 goals, you got the plus 100. 2 people got it. All right, so the way the table went, I won the week before. The results going backwards: Madison was second, Jarrett was third, Sophia was fourth, John was fifth, Nick was sixth, and Drew was terrible the week before and seventh. Nobody except for Sophia got the first game correct. She was the only one who picked Qatar to win. Then she also got the second game correct. So Sophia was running away with it early on. Everybody got the second game correct and caught up. But Sophia had a 330 juice box lead. Then Sophia got game 3 right as well. Jarrett did, Nick did, Drew did as well. Then Sophia got game 4 right as well. So she was up to 935 through 4 games. I was in second at that stage, or I was in third on 280. Nick was at 605. He had started climbing a little bit. Game 5, you got it right. Which game was this one? You're the only one who got that one right. I can't remember which one it was off the top of my head.
Is that the Portland?
No. That would have been, I think that was the piece of Hellas Verona. I think you're the only one who picked the draw.
Yeah, because I thought they were both pretty bad.
Yeah, so you got the draw in that one. The Portland San Diego game, Sophia got that one. So she was up to 1075. Nick was at 745. You were at 450 because you got back to back. Everybody else was pretty much out of it. So it came down to the last 2 games on Sunday. Mamelodi Sundowns winning. That got Nick. That got Drew. Positive. That got Jarrett. Sophia missed it. So that's where Nick jumped Sophia. Then Nick got the Manchester United.
Wow.
Win, and it was Nick and Jarrett who got that right. Then Nick got the prop bet as well. Drew got that too. So Nick wins on 1570. Second place was Sophia on 875. Jarrett was third on 750. Drew then at 275. You at 250. I was at minus 120. Back to stinking again. Maddie was at minus 500. She was terrible last week. So the new season totals, Nick jumps Jarrett into first place in the cumulative on 2190. Jarrett's on 2145. Sophia's on 1925 and third. You're in fourth at 1280. Drew's on 1157. Maddie's on 650, and I'm on 475. So look, even stinking this season so far. I have won, and I haven't lost you money over the cumulative. Nobody has. So that's pretty good.
That's a shock.
That's pretty good. I'll take that. Our picks of the week, we do pretty well. So because and Hutch has the update from the Twitch page. Hutch won with a 245 after not submitting picks until after the third game. So it was a brutal time on the Twitch pitch. Nick just killed everybody and everything. Full credit to Nick for killing it and getting those big ones at the end to climb it. Yeah. So Nick is on his way to Louisville for a shoot, so he could not join us. He did send a promo in. I am not going to deliver it in Nick voice. I think I'm going to try to deliver it in like AI voice.
I thought you just dead.
Well, that's AI voice. I mean, I'm not going to. I'm just going to try to go very
Siri
flat.
Yeah, there you go.
Sorry, Turner won. Hutch didn't. Turner won with 245. That's from the Twitch pitch. Nick won with 1,500. He killed it. So here was Nick's promo. Bright lights and big cities are mighty fine, but mean nothing without Rolex watches, European automobiles, and the biggest house on the biggest hill on the biggest side of town. The package deal, baby. And that's what you get when you're the number one man in this business. Just like the media game, we're shutting them all down. How about that, Jarrett? You don't like that. Learn to love it because it's the best thing going today. Woo. That's what he's on.
Straight out of the Ric Flair playbook.
Well, it's Nick. I mean, come on. Like, are we surprised?
Well, but I would maybe see original copy.
Okay. All right. Nick, how about it? And Nick did send in his picks. He did get more than 4 picks because he had some really good picks. We collaborated on the board this week. I did have to make one change to his since he had more than 4 picks. I don't feel bad about it.
Am I writing down yours as well?
You got to write down everything we do because this is the first time this is being broadcast.
Okay.
So we are doing the slightly old school style, except we have the 8 games we're doing, and we have the prop bet as well. So I don't forget to mention
What's
the
the
end. I haven't told you the games yet, by the way.
Last week's prop bet.
It was the goals in that.
What was the number?
It was 33, I think. Okay. 33 or 34. And within 5, it was only Nick and it was Drew who got it. Okay. So the prop bet here is. Type up. Okay. All right. So we have a board to go from, and we're going to get the odds locked in as well. This will go out, those of you on the Twitch pitch, you sickos, this will go out to you shortly after we are done. I will cut and paste it, and I'll send it to the keeper of the Discord, which is Jarrett Smith. He is not with us tonight because he is driving from Denver to Salt Lake City because his flight yesterday did not happen, or he got bumped from it or something.
He was late because he was in the line for TSA.
Okay, so he got bumped because he was late. Then he couldn't get on another one. Then he had to stay another night. Then he got on a flight that got delayed, or he got delayed or something. And then he missed his connecting flight from Denver to Salt Lake. So they rented a car and they're driving from Denver to Salt Lake. He might be listening and probably yelling at me right now. I don't know. It's very possible. He probably isn't listening. He shouldn't be. Ivy, if he is making you listen to this, I apologize. All right. So let's get into what we have on the board for this week. Tuesday, we start with PSV versus Napoli in the UEFA Champions League. So your odds as they get locked into the board are PSV is a plus 210. Reshape the windows. Yes, PSV is a plus 210. The draw is a plus 250. And Napoli is a plus 125. So, recent form for these two. Last time they played head-to-head was in the Europa League in 2012. In the group stage, PSV won both big. Napoli was not happy with that. PSV is currently on a 5-game unbeaten run, 3 wins, 2 draws. They drew at Leverkusen last time out in the Champions League. 3 wins out of their last 4 in the Eredivisie. The draw was a 2-2 hosting Ajax. Napoli recently, they lost to Torino over the weekend, 1-0. They beat Genoa before that. They beat Sporting Lisbon before that in Champions League. They lost to Milan. They beat Pisa, who is terrible. And they lost to Manchester City in the first game of the Champions League. They'd won 3 in a row in league before that. So it's been up and down. Scott McTominay should be back for this one. They might not have Rasmus Højlund, though. So Napoli might not be at 100% here. We'll get everybody else's picks after the show, so you're just going to have to imagine what they pick. John, what are you picking in this one?
Draw.
You are picking the draw between PSV and Napoli.
Yeah, PSV's had better form, but I figure the better team is Napoli going on the road, so I'll cancel himself out.
I'm picking the better team in Napoli to win. Napoli's going to get the win.
Got it.
Okay, next on the board, Wednesday, we got 2 games. Let's see which one's actually first. They're right around the same time of day, but actually kick at the same time. They do. All right, so we will go with the first one on the sheet here, which is MLS playoffs, Chicago and Orlando. So, SofaScore likes to be a pain. Sorry, SofaScore. Just you do. It's frustrating. No, I got it. Chicago is a minus 104. Orlando is a plus 240. The draw is plus 280. So in minus 104 for the Fire. The draw plus 280. And there's going to have to be a winner in this, so then we go penalties. And Orlando is the plus 240. Orlando has fallen on hard times. Darn, I feel really bad for them. I really do. I'm sad. I don't understand how they've fallen on hard times because they have two players that I put into my MLS Best 11 vote. Why are they in the spot? Because as of late, they lost to Toronto on decision day. They lost to Vancouver before that. They drew to Columbus before that. They drew to Cincinnati before that. They beat Nashville back on September 20th. They drew DC, which, yeah, we know is bad. Leagues Cup, they lost two. They lost another game to Nashville. I mean, it's a lot of
only
L's.
won once in their last 9.
Yep.
2 and 10.
Well, Toluca was a penalty win, so that's not even a win. That's a draw.
Okay. So one regulation win in their last 9.
Yes, that's bad. Chicago, back-to-back draws to close out the season. 3 wins before that. A loss at home to NYC, a win over New England at home, a loss to Philly. They beat St. Louis. So, yeah, Chicago has been very, very good as of late. 2 losses in their last 10, if I can add quickly. Yes. They've been good. Orlando's been bad. This season, last time they played in Chicago, it was May. It was a scoreless draw. Last time they played was also in May at the end of the month. Chicago won in Orlando. What are you picking?
Oh, Chicago.
You are picking Chicago. I am also, yeah, I'm going to pick Chicago as well. I don't want to go draw, but I'm going to pick Chicago. Yeah, I got to go Chicago. All right. So 2 picks for Chicago. The other game on the Wednesday is going to the Copa Libertadores. And it's going to be Flamengo and Racing, first leg of the semifinals. Your numbers on this one are slightly out of whack. Flamengo at home in Brazil is a minus 263. The draw is a plus 375. Racing is a plus 700 to win in Brazil. You might wonder why they are so poorly rated in this game.
Why are they so poorly rated in this game?
No, let's dig into it, shall we?
And it's also a chance to see Santiago Sosa.
It is a chance to see Santiago Sosa. Last time they played was in 2023 in the Libertadores, and Flamengo won in Brazil 2-1. In that one, Flamengo is tied for the lead in the Brazilian top flight on 61 points. They have won their last 2. They beat Palmeiras over the weekend 3-2. They won at Botafogo before that. They did lose to Bahia 1-0, and they got 2 red cards in that one. A lot of red cards. Draw before that with Cruzeiro, a win at Corinthians. They got past Estudiantes on penalties in the quarterfinals. Their form in Brazil has been pretty good, but not overwhelmingly good. 3 wins in their last 5, only the 1 loss in their last 5. Very good. Racing lately. They won over the weekend on Friday against Aldosivi, so they've got 2 extra days of rest. They won at Bonfield before that. They drew it with Independiente Rivadavia. They lost to River in the Copa Argentina. They drew with Independiente. They got past Vélez in the quarterfinal, 2 1-0 wins in Libertadores. They've been pretty good as of late. 1 loss in their last 9. But they are not ready to get anything done here. Head-to-head, they both won 1, and they have drawn 2 in their last 4 appearances against one another. John, what are you picking?
Oh, I'm going with the big favorite.
You're going with Flamengo. I am going with a draw. I'm going with a draw. I think Racing can get a draw, and then they're going to really have a battle in the second leg in Argentina. That should be a fun one. All right, Thursday. Let's get into which competition we are talking about here. It is one of the UEFA competitions. We're going to Sweden. We're going to Malmo, and they are in the Europa League. They are hosting Dinamo Zagreb. Thank you, Nick, for picking this one. We have numbers for this. We got Malmo at a plus 210 at home. The draw plus 230. Dinamo Zagreb plus 125.
18 matches going on.
Yes. Europa League's all of them. So they all have to play on. So it's 30, 16, 18 games. That's how it works. We've done this for a few years now.
I mean, traditionally, it's either broken up or
No, it's not. No, it's not. The Europa League's never broken.
Okay.
No, it's always on. Along with the conference.
The Conference League is chaos.
It's always on. Always. They're not going to have the Europa League competing with the Champions League. Come on. Not going to happen. Come on. Come on.
Hey, Nottingham Forest is home to Portland.
Yippee skippy. Good job. I'm happy for whatever happens at Nottingham Forest. Here on so bad. Why? These teams last played in 2011, and Malmo beat Dinamo 2-0 in Sweden, and they lost 4-1 in Zagreb. So 2 games in the group stage in the Champions League in 2011. This time we're in the Europa League. So Malmo, as of late, they won over the weekend at Norrköping. And I'm sorry to my Swedish pronunciation.
No, you got it.
Not prepared. I mean, that's how it phonetically looks.
Yes, it's Norrköping.
It's the O with the dots over it. It might not be coping. There might be some other little twist to it.
Norrköping.
I don't know.
It's like a short U.
Okay. I'm looking at you with side eye.
Hey, it's a Scandinavian family.
Yeah, but I've heard some of your Scandinavian pronunciations too. 5-1, they lost to Sirius, not Exeter. Europa League, they lost 3-0 and had 2 red cards to Victoria Pilsen. So they got 2 guys suspended in this one. They beat Varnamo. They lost to Ludogorets in the Europa League. It hasn't been great for Malmo as of late. They have 2 wins in their last 6. 4 wins in their last 10. Not good for our Swedish friends. Dinamo Zagreb, they won over the weekend 2-1. They lost 2-1 before that. In the Europa League, they have won twice. They won at Maccabi Tel Aviv last time out, and they won at home over Fenerbahce last time before that. They've been pretty good as of late. I don't know if their league is quite as good, but they've been better in Europa League. They've been better than Malmo in their domestic competition. Does that result in a win in Sweden? What do you think?
Yes.
You think it does? You're going with Dinamo Zagreb.
I'm going Dinamo Zagreb.
I'm going to go with a draw. I think Malmo is going to fight for the honor of Sweden and their countrymen, and they are going to get a hard-fought draw.
How can you lose to the Dogs? Lose to Sirius.
The Dogs.
Yeah, Sirius the Dogs.
Okay. Because Sirius is better. Actually, hard. They are. Almost 5-1 to them, and Sirius is in 12th. Malmo's in 4th in Sweden. They are 21 points behind our friends Mjällby.
So they didn't win either.
Who didn't win? What?
Malmo didn't win the title either.
No, they did not win. They are probably not going to go back to Europe. Now they might get past the 3rd place team, possibly.
Decision day.
Possibly. Malmo, if you do not know that, by the way, they are known as the Blue Ones, or the Sky Blue.
I mean, we're used to seeing the white jerseys with the sky blue lettering and the crest that's kind of
Actually, they don't wear white jerseys.
I've seen them.
Fine. They wear the light blue. The sky blue.
Fine, they wear the sky blue.
That's what Wikipedia's telling me. They got the black.
Bastion
And
of
they got a
journalistic
pink.
intelligence. I like the pink. I like that. I like the pink and black combo. I like the all black.
When did Malmo last wear white jersey? Now I'm curious. Maybe it's been a while. I wonder if this gets answered. Let's see what happens. They had a third kit last time, so that's what you would have said. They had a navy blue collar and cuffs. They used an all-white in the past, but you're going back to 2011 and 2012. They introduced an all-white kit in the 50s that was reused in European play during the 2011 and 2012 seasons. So no, they do not wear white on a regular basis.
Maybe that's when I saw it was in the 1950s.
Maybe. You're just spouting off stuff and getting busted. That's what happened. I'm shocked. I mean, come on. So yes, I am picking a draw because I think the 2 red card suspensions are going to hurt Dinamo Zagreb. All right, let's go to Friday. Don't say it. Don't even try it. That's an old joke. It's not funny.
Friday.
No, it's not. Friday, we are going to, thanks to Nick, the Malaysian Super League.
Oh, there you go.
We are going to see a team in let's see if I can find them. I am not expecting to have odds on this match. We are going to Melaka FC as they are.
Is that the Kuala Lumpur City match?
No. Melaka FC is hosting, and I have to get this correct because they have a long name. They are hosting. No, they are on the road. Sorry. Melaka FC is on the road at Kelantan, the Real Warriors FC.
That's a name.
Yes. In the Malaysian Super League right now, the Kelantan United, so we'll figure this out. Kelantan, they are in 7th place through 7 matches played. 2, 2, and 3 right now. They've only scored 6 goals. They've conceded 13, but they've won twice somehow. They are. Let's see.
They're 11.
Malacca's in 11.
5 matches, 3 points, 0-3 and 2.
Yeah, they're bad.
They are bad.
They've only scored twice in 5 games. Nick, what are you doing? Why are you picking this game?
Well, because probably the odds that we get because there's no line make it a more attractive pick across the board.
Do you think Nick's actually thinking that? Really?
I don't know.
That's the better answer. Thank you. Don't try to put logic there. He did another Ric Flair promo. Come on. So Kelantan, the Real Warriors FC. They are based in Kota Baru in Kelantan. They are obviously the top flight of Malaysia, which is the Super League, not the Premier League. The Premier League is the second level. The Super League is the first level. They were founded in 2016 as a lot of abbreviations. MPKB-BRI Ubi capital S Football Club.
That parenthesis.
It's
Kota Baru Municipal Council Islamic City Youth and Sports Secretary.
I don't know what any of that means.
It's like a couple of different governments thrown together.
Yeah, but I have no idea what that has to do with it. They were reformed as Kelantan United in 2017. Then they were the Kelantan Darul Naim in 2024. They have now rebranded as the Kelantan the Real Warriors FC for 2025. So this is their first year as Kelantan the Real Warriors FC. They play at the Sultan Muhammad IV Stadium that seats 30,000 people. Their nickname, obviously, the Real Warriors, because duh, they should be. They wear red and all red. They have an all white. They have a red and green stripe third kit, which is funky. Their president is Anwar Musa. He was appointed in July of 2025. Their head coach is known as Ella, E-L-A, with an accent after the A or an apostrophe after the A. I don't know. Let's find out. He's 63 years old. He is a former Selangor State Team player. He played for Public Bank in the mid-'80s before beginning his coaching career. Public Bank just went away.
Ella Basaran and Lango.
But he's known as Ella. So, yes, he is brand new to the Kelantan, the Real Warriors FC. He had previously been an assistant for the Malaysian national team, and he was the head coach for the Malaysian U23s. He did pretty well with the Malaysian U23s. He's not doing so great with Kellington, the Real Warrior. So we look at the opponent, Melaka. Malacca, I'm not sure. Not to be confused with Malacca City FC. This is a whole different club. They're known as MFC Football Club. Their badge is looking kind of AI-ish. They were founded in 2022. They were the club that I guess sort of replaced Melaka United. They were founded as a continuation of the previous club, but they did not inherit the honors and titles won by Melaka United. They participated in the Malaysia M3 League in 2023, which is the second tier in Malaysia. I don't know what the Malaysia Premier League is. Maybe that's rebranded too. A lot of rebrands in Malaysia.
A1 semi-pro.
I don't know what any of that means. It's all chaos. So they got promoted from that this past year into the Super League somehow. I don't know where the Premier League fits again. I have no idea. They were red and black, even though their crest is red and navy blue. Sure, they wear light blue shirts as away colors with royal blue socks. Again, they have navy blue in their crest. It makes no sense. They used to have nice crests that had a tree in it. This one doesn't. This one ChatGPT created for them.
They did.
I don't like it.
And they got one stadium that seats 40,000 and one that seats 1,000.
Well, the way they're playing right now, they're probably playing in the 1,000 seat stadium because they're not very good.
No.
They play at the Hang Jebat Stadium. That's the 40,000 seater. They had previously been using the Hang Tuah Stadium since 2023. It's still used as a training ground and home venue for the development and youth squads. They have a Brazilian player in their squad, a couple of Brazilians in their squad. Yeah, Nick, I have no idea why you picked this game. I'm upset with you for picking this game because it's dumb on many levels. Make sure we have no odds in this one. We have no odds in
No,
this
we
one.
don't, because the only Super League game we have is November 30th.
Yeah. I will check our other places because I have one other place that might possibly be a degenerate enough to have odds on this. Oddspedia is pretty degenerate. Let's see.
Oddspedia, Malaysian Super League.
I mean, I'm going to get all kinds of viruses on my computer even looking for this at this point. We have fixtures. We have Kellington as like one of their previous names. We have no odds. So that goes into the default odds section of the picks of the week because, we have to be ready for sicko behavior like this one from Nick. It is a plus 100 for the home team, which is the Melka FC. I have to fix that. The draw is plus 125, and the visitors, the Kellington Real Warriors, are a plus 150. Nick. Let me fix this. So I got to get the right home team first because it affects the odds. Melka FC versus Kellington Real Warriors FC. Sorry, it's Kellington, the Real Warriors FC, because
Not to be
course
confused
it
with
is.
a Real Warrior or an Real Warrior.
Of course. Okay. John, what do you pick?
Real Warriors play.
Picking the Real Warriors on the road.
Because Malacca has lost their last two.
Yeah.
The Real Warriors have alternated. They've win-loss on their last four. Malacca ain't scored no goals. They've scored 2 and 5. Kellington's averaging about a goal a match, but I look at just the form. Malacca's not scoring. Kellington kind of is, so I'll go with Kellington.
I'm going with a draw. I think it's going to be
What
terrible.
have you done with Jason? You've turned into me.
There's a bunch of dumb games, so I'm picking dumb draws. That's what's happening. It's dumb games. This is a dumb game. It's two bad teams, and one keeps changing their name, and the other one can't match their color. So it's annoying.
It is.
Very annoying.
Kind of like that matchup in Serie A last week with Ellis and Verona.
Well, yeah, but that's at least in a top flight, and you've got a team with a leaning tower in their city. Like,
Yeah.
at least you have something to work
And
with.
Ellis Verona crest is pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, you got some decent stuff there. We've got a team that's changed their name 3 times in the last 3 years. What's happening?
Chaos.
Very disappointing there. All right, let's move on. Let's go.
Game number 6.
Saturday. The first game. Which one is it? Let's look at this. Because we've got one in the first division and one in the second division in Italy, of course. And this is the one that, Nick, I had to make a change because the game you gave me is actually next week. So that's on you, buddy. So I'm picking one of the teams that you picked. So that's the second division game. The first division game is a noon kick.
Right.
And the second division game is let's see. It is
probably at 9 a.m. unless
it's an 11:15 kick. So that one goes on the board first. Okay. Carrarese hosting Venezia. We all know about Venezia. They're the trendy club to like, even though nobody really knows much about them, but they want to like them because they generally have nice kits.
Yes.
Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they try too hard on the kits, and it's annoying. But they generally have nice kits. Generally. We'll see what their kits look like this year, and we'll learn about Carrarese. Let's see. And I'm probably butchering that pronunciation too. It's probably something kind of silly with the double R's and then the single R.
Carrarese or something.
I don't know. It might be. Carrarese Calcio 1908. They've probably died and come back to life a few times.
I was going to say like 15 times.
They are known as the Blues or the Yellow and Blues or the Marbles.
I can see that.
You can see that they're known as the Marbles. How can you see that?
Just looking at the crest, it looks like
They have a circle in their crest. That's how you can see a marble?
Yeah, it's like, you got and the spokes inside. It kind of gives it motion. So I'm sitting there thinking that somebody took like an aggie and with their fun.
In 2016, the club was founded in 1908. They have been in promotions and stuff. 2016, the club went bankrupt. A new club replaced them and successfully bid the sport title by refurbishing the deck of the previous club. So I guess they got to keep the honors. They won promotion to the second division in Italy last season, or no, 2 seasons ago, June of 2024. They won the third division promotion playoff. So, and then they stayed up. They had been out of the second tier for 76 years.
Whoa. And
they stayed up. They finished 12th last year. So very nice. Italian international and Juventus goalkeeper legend Gianluigi Buffon. Gianluigi Buffon is a major shareholder of the club. He's from Carrara, and he was part of a consortium that acquired the club in 2010, but then they went bankrupt. So I don't know if he's still a part owner. He might not be anymore. He might have made him go backwards.
They may not like Gigi Buffon.
They might not. They wear blue. They wear yellow. It's kind of Parma-ish. They've got a random Italian in the club. A couple Argentines in the club. They've got Gambian in the club. Allegedly, these rosters might not be up there. Yes. So the marbles. I'm going to follow up on that one because I don't think it has anything to do with the marbles that you are trying to say that it has to do with.
Like the countertops?
I'm thinking that it has more to do with that. Yes. Yes, it is about the marble that is a type of white or blue-gray marble popular for use in sculpture and building decor, and it is from the city of Carrara. Yes, it has nothing to do with a circular thing in their logo that looks like a marble.
It looks like an agate. Yeah.
What?
Like marble types. It's an agate.
It's like the round marble.
Yeah. Yeah. The ones that you would shoot.
I did not know they had names.
Yeah.
An agate.
Fine. You keep going there, and I'll do the marbles.
Is this what you played in elementary school in the 1920s?
Correct.
Okay, just check. Because I'm baffled by all of this. Venezia, look, we've gotten to know Venezia over the years. They've kind of bounced back and forth. I believe there's Margot and Venice as well, but we're not going to go there. Venezia right now, just so you know a little bit of their history, the orange, black, greens, that's one of their nicknames. I mean, it's very specific.
Sure.
The winged lions I like better. The lagoonal ones is even better. We're not going to call them the people from the lagoons. Yes. They were founded in 1907. Then they were refounded in 2005. Then they were refounded again in 2009. Then they were refounded again in 2015. Now they're pretty stable. They got relegated last season out of Serie A. They wear orange, black, and green because they're known as the orange, black, greens in Italian, of course. It's been sort of up and down. They've been a bit of a yo-yo in this new era, the fourth era of Venezia, where they keep going bust and coming back. In this era, Joe Tacopina
don't talk to Nick about Joe Tacopina.
He's the group of American investors that led it to acquire the club out of bankruptcy, refounded them as Venezia FC. They earned promotion from 4th division to 3rd. They then went to the 2nd division in Filippo Inzaghi's first year with the club. First, in 2017, that was the first time they'd been in the 2nd division for 12 years. They almost got promoted. They didn't. Inzaghi left. He went to Bologna. They went through 3 coaches in 2018-19. Walter Zingo was one of them. They lost the relegation playout to Salernitana, but then they were ultimately spared because Palermo were punished with relegation due to administrative non-compliance. So they stayed up. They got lucky. They removed Joe Tacopina as the club president in 2020. They went another reorganization, but they didn't go bankrupt. They just reorganized. Duncan Niederauer, the former CEO of the New York Stock Exchange, took on the role of club president. Then they did really well after the COVID shutdown, and that's what saved them from avoiding getting relegated that season. A significant capital raise was announced in July of 2024. New investors include Apex Capital, Chiron Sports Group, Zalm Capital. They've went through all this. They got promoted. They went back down after this past year. It's been all over the place. Gianluca Lucio was there. Tanner Tessman was there, if I'm not mistaken.
True.
They've been a yo-yo, and they are staying in the 2nd division for now. Let's see what, if any, odds we have on this. We actually do have odds on this one. And Venezia is not a favorite. No, they are. Sorry, they're a favorite on the road.
Yes.
Cavarese is the home underdog, but it's very narrow in this one. So your odds are Cavarese, the Marbles. They are plus 182. The draw is plus 220. And Venezia is plus 140. Have these teams ever played one another? Yes, in the Coppa Italia in 2020, Venezia beat Cavarese 2-0. Lately in the table, the Marbles, a lot of draws.
Yes.
5 draws in their last 8.
Yep.
But only one loss.
3 of their last 4, and they've won 1 loss.
Only 1 loss in their last 8. They did lose in the Coppa Italia to Udinese back in August 2-0. Venezia, they, as of late, 2 wins out of their last 4, 2 draws alongside it. They got through into the Coppa Italia over Hellas Verona from the top flight in a penalty shootout. They have been pretty good. Pretty good. They're in 6th place in the 2nd division. Cavarese is in 10th. 2 points separating them. Feels like a pretty even game. John, what do you think?
I feel like it's a pretty even game.
I'm going to go with the Marbles. Because they've been somewhat more stable than Venezia. Somewhat.
And by the way,
I think they've only had like 3 reorganizations instead of 5.
And by the way, an Aggie marble is made of agate. Aggie is short for agate, with glass resembling agate with various patterns like a meow.
Okay.
So yeah, remember I was telling you about the marble?
Yeah.
And so you've got alleys, red devils, bumblebees, chinas, commons, jaspers, crystal, mica, sulfides, steelies, swirly shooters, tigers, babies, and tumble.
Okay.
So there you go. But yes, Aggies were the ones that I had when I was a kid because they looked kind of like that.
Okay.
Yeah, because they had all the
stuff in it.
Yeah, it's like the air balls. Yeah.
I never played with marbles enough to know they had different names.
Cheap entertainment.
Sure. I guess.
Well, no, it was cheap entertainment. It's like have a bag of marbles. It's like $1.25. You go out in the backyard. You sit there. You draw a circle. And you sit there. And you try to
We just go play sports in the backyard.
Oh, I played sports.
Marbles.
Yeah, well, I drew very very bored with marbles very quickly as a child. That's why I went to play baseball back then.
But you knew the names.
I knew one.
You knew the others too.
No, I was reading the others.
sure?
Yeah, I was reading that. I knew Aggies, yes.
Sure. Let's go to the next game. Serie A, Napoli and Inter. Big game. Napoli's got to go to PSV first in the Champions League. Inter's got a Champions League game as well before we get to this one. So we do have numbers on it, and they are dead even. I've never, ever seen this in the history of Picks of the Week. Never, never. Both teams plus 163 to win. The draw is plus 220. I've never seen that. And why they're both plus 163, I will never know. Where did that number come from? But that's what it says. It's right here. I can screenshot it and send it if I have to. It'll probably change by the time this goes out. But see, confirmation, plus 163, plus 163, plus 220. Yep, I've never seen it, but we get it for this.
Yeah, and I've got a composite that's got different numbers, but that's what we're going with.
That it's Sofa score.
Yeah.
That is the first score.
Yeah.
So the last time these teams played, it was in March, and it was a 1-1 draw. The time before that they played, it was in November. It was a 1-1 draw. The time before that they played, it was March of 2024. It was a 1-1 draw.
Wow.
They played before that in the Supercoppa Italiana in 2024, and Inter won that 1-0. Before that one, Inter won 3-0, Napoli won 3-1, Inter won 1-0, another 1-1 draw. There's another 1-1 draw back in there somewhere. Good grief, they've had a lot of 1-1 draw. In the league, Napoli's been a little up and down. They lost to Torino, they beat Genoa, they beat Sporting. They've got to go to PSV before this game. Inter has to go to Belgium to face Union St. Gilloise. They beat Roma over the weekend. They played a random friendly against Atletico Madrid where Thiago Almada scored, if I'm not mistaken. They had a penalty shootout in that friendly during the international break. Inter in Champions League has beaten Slavia Prague. They've beaten Ajax. They have been pretty good so far this season, but they're both on 15 points. Inter's won 4 in a row in the league. Napoli has won 3 of 5. The odds are the same.
Yep.
What do you pick?
Inter.
You dirty cheater.
I am a dirty cheater.
I'm picking Napoli because I can't pick against Napoli. And I could never pick Inter. Nick might fight me. So he'll fight you instead.
Okay.
Sunday, the big game of the week. El Clásico. We're going to Spain. We're going to Madrid. It's Real Madrid and Barcelona. Real Madrid leading the La Liga table at the moment. Barcelona right behind them, 2 points back. Real Madrid, 8 wins out of 9. Barca, 7 wins out of 9, but they've got a loss mixed into that. Head-to-head, as of late, Barca won last time 4-3 in a drunk, stupid game on May 11th. Copa del Rey, Barcelona won that 3-2. That was drunk and just slightly dumb. Supercopa de España, Barcelona won that one 5-2. That one was exceedingly intoxicating. La Liga, before that, Barcelona won 4-0. Real Madrid's last win against Barca was April of 2024, a 3-2 win. And that was the end of a 3-game winning streak for Real Madrid. So Barca right now is on a 4-game winning streak against Real Madrid. Real Madrid has not lost in the league this season. Or sorry, no, they've lost 1. They lost to Atleti 5-2 in a very drunk, stupid game.
When have they not been drunk?
Real Madrid's too drunk and stupid because their defense isn't that great all the time, but it's pretty good sometimes. It's just inconsistent. They beat Kairat Almaty 5-0 in Champions League last round. They beat Marseille 2-1 in their first Champions League games. The only blemish right now is that loss at Atleti, which is a pretty big blemish. They do host Juventus, who is just a walking blemish right now in Champions League in the midweek. Barcelona hosts Olympiacos before this match. Barca 2-1 win over Girona. They lost at Sevilla in a bad loss. They lost to PSG in the Champions League in the midweek before that in a not so bad loss. PSG's kind of good and stuff. They had won 5 in a row before that, including a win at Newcastle in Champions League. Their other blemish in La Liga is a draw with Rayo Vallecano 1-1 back on August 31st. So, your numbers on this one.
They are, yes.
Real Madrid is a plus 105. The draw is a plus 280. Barcelona is a plus 230. That's really tasty.
Yes.
What are you picking?
I'm going draw.
You're going draw.
Drunken draw.
Well, I think it's going to be drunk. I don't think it's going to be a draw. I am going to go with Barcelona. I do not trust Madrid's defense against a top attacking group.
And
like
that
Barcelona.
and that plus
Barcelona
two
could be
number.
down some people too. So I'm not. I don't feel great about it because they do have some injuries they're dealing with. But I don't trust Real Madrid's defense against a real functional attack.
That's why I think it's going to be drunken draw. Take the if you can find 5.5 in your juice boxes.
I think Barcelona can keep Real Madrid out more than Real Madrid can keep Barcelona out. So I think Barcelona is going to win. And they'll win their 5th in a row over Madrid. And it will be a crisis on El Chiringuito.
Oh, yes.
Fracaso.
Oh, that's going to be great television.
They'll lose their mind. We had spam bots in the
Oh.
chat. That's good. Let's take care of that one. Seeker's hanging out. Very happy about Huntsville. Dos Acero and Chattanooga.
Acero.
Beat them like a drum. He's 10 feet tall and unbearable right now. Well, no, you're not always unbearable. Sometimes unbearable. But we bear you anyway.
But after what happened at Fort Finley, this is understandable.
Yes. You're unbearable when you start talking about Georgia Tech to me. That's when it's unbearable. That's going to be unbearable.
Clean old-fashioned hate at Mercedes-Benz.
Yeah, that's going to be unbearable here soon. I can already see it coming. All right, the last thing on the picks of the week board is the prop bet, and Nick went with the yellow cards issued in the Flamengo Racing match. Let me make sure he said yellows. I love that Nick, in his original message to me with games, he said, "So, how unhinged do you want to get?" I'm like, "Okay, very." No, he didn't say yellows. He said cards. So I'm going to go with the official language that he said. Now, whenever we go with this kind of prop bet on cards, you don't get 3 cards credit on 2 yellows, and that becomes a red. You get 2 because the red is just what happens. It's the result. So yellows and straight reds. That's what we are going with. So in the Flamengo Racing Copa Libertadores first leg of a semifinal, the prop is the cards issued. I will go with 4.
I would go with 7.
7? All right. Cool.
So I think that there will be chaos that will set up an even more chaotic second leg.
Yes, very possible. We will get everybody else's picks, and we will compare notes, and we'll see where everybody ends up finishing as we get ready for next week. You have a sheet of paper that I will take with me.
That was true.
Jarrett will share this with the Twitch pitch unless you sickos already did it yourselves, which if you did, good on you. Good on you for taking notes every day.
I'm still shocked that I'm on the plus side.
You've been pretty good. You've been generally like on the top half of the group each week. I've been bad except for one week where I was awesome. That's about how it goes. Sophia's been really good.
She's low key. She's just kind of Sophia just puts the picks in, doesn't say much, doesn't run any smack.
She just does her thing. Yeah. All right, so we got to check up on the news of the chaotic before we finish up and see if anybody has been chaotic as of late. We'll start with our good friend Nicholas Bentner. Let's see if he's done anything lately. Probably not. No, he hasn't. He's been boring.
Well, hurrah.
I mean, I don't know what he's up to.
He's probably laying low, and when he does pop back up for air, it's going to be just amazingly awful.
Yeah, probably. Let's see about Mauro Icardi. So, there was a rumor about him going to Peñarol in Uruguay. The president of Peñarol denied the claims and said, "For a while, many people who haven't spoken to me have written to ask me about this issue, but nothing has happened. We are not considering him for our team. He is not on our transfer list." They don't have money for something like that. I mean, they could sign him as a free at the end of the year, but I don't think they have the money to do that.
What was it, 12 was the last number that
he's making a lot of money.
Yeah.
Torino has reportedly looked at this. This is an old one. I don't think we talked about it.
No, we didn't. I was looking at that.
Well, I think we missed that one. So I think I don't think it's as bad as it looks. I think it's just the way it's translated. Stuff here.
Yes.
He's been declared a debtor by an Argentine court in his child support case with ex-wife Wanda Nara. They were married for 10 years, separated in 2024. He moved on in his personal life with China Suarez. She moved on with a rapper. According to a journalist, he was officially recognized as a debtor for unpaid child support in the Argentine courts. As a result, if he attempts to enter Argentina, he won't be allowed to leave the country until the payments are settled.
Oh, I guess he's not going to Argentina.
So he can't spend time with his daughter. She lived with Wanda in Argentina. But he scored a bunch of goals in Turkey. So there you go. Good job.
You're not allowed here.
I think Wanda, on her end of things, is, I believe, hosting a MasterChef show in Argentina. She talks a lot to the media and says a lot of things she probably shouldn't say publicly.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, there's all kinds of stories about Wanda. You probably shouldn't look them up. Just saying. Lots of things. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There were accusations of her sharing videos she shouldn't have shared.
Whoa.
From other people. Like, all kinds of stuff. Wanda's a mess. Yeah, just don't do it.
No.
Just don't do it. That's bad.
Yeah. Wanda, if Nancy Reagan were confronted with Wanda Nara, it would be just saying.
David had a question. Late at the party, how's the SDH lager? It's excellent.
I was going to ask you about this.
I've been sipping on it today because I had too many yesterday.
Well, and full disclosure.
Full disclosure?
Yes.
Okay.
Yesterday, after we had the morning special.
Yeah, yesterday was a long day. Saturday was a longer day because I had 2 games before I got to Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And then the Atlanta United DC game, which was not fun. And then all the post-game stuff, which was not fun and sad in different ways. Got a chance to interview Brad Kazan, which was cool after he did the press conference. So we got a chance to chat with him, and he was great. It's on the full-time report if you missed that. Brad threatened everybody that he said if they gave him a hard time that he would come back and beat people up, basically. So we got that in our back pocket if we ever need it. No, he was great. Just a weird day all the way around. And then, look, it's not too hard to figure out what's probably coming. And it did Saturday or Sunday morning, 9:35 or so announcement of Ronnie Dyla being let go by Atlanta United. As I've said many times, I said it on SDH, I said it on 92.9 yesterday. I hate this stuff because in my role, I get to know these people. And Ronnie was more than generous with his time for me. And I know he wasn't that with many others. I never took that for granted. So I had a great conversation with him on Thursday after his press conference. So, it's sad because you get to know him, and I believe in what he was trying to do, and it didn't come off. And as I said yesterday, I think when you look at underperforming your XG by 15 and underperforming your XGA, expected goals allowed, when you underperform that by 10 plus, it's not as much on the manager or his ideas as it is on the individual players. And look, it's easier to change the manager. You're going to have to change some of the players too. It's not going to be a fun offseason because you're going to have a lot of people who are not bad people who are going to lose their jobs. And this is why, I do get annoyed, and I think I make it kind of clear that I do in some of these cases because I think it's very easy on the outside to forget about the humanity of these folks. I can't in what I do, and I get to know them in a different way than normal fans would, and I understand that. But, yeah, it sucks. So yesterday was not fun at all. Saturday wasn't fun because you knew Brad was leaving and you thought other people might be leaving too. You find out that on Sunday they are. And it wasn't fun. Hustled up here after doing our SDH show to the Brewhouse for the Liverpool-Manchester United game. The Little 5 Points Halloween parade was going on. That's why John couldn't make it here.
Yeah. I was driving around the neighborhood for an hour trying to find a space to park. And That did not exist. There was one moment, and it was this 30-minute block of time, where you think you're going up a road, and you think that you can go make a left turn, and you can kind of work your way to the outside and find a place to park. So I go up this one road, and you have cars parked on either side. So it literally is just one lane up one lane. And everybody has kind of turned it into a one-lane road heading up this way toward Laurel. And all of a sudden, traffic stops halfway up the hill. And we see people attempting to try and turn around. And we see an Atlanta police officer come walking down the street telling us, you've all got to turn around because it's blocked up there. It's basically just
because there's a parade.
Yeah, a couple blocks behind us is the end of that street. Yeah. And the APD officer is just like, nope, you're all turning around and you're heading back.
Because there's a parade.
Because there's a parade.
You could not go.
No, you could not. And so the folks who were at the closest point to Moreland, they're trying to back up. And we're trying to tell everybody else behind us that they've got to back up so we can all get off this road and so we can all get out and we can go and find parking spaces. And legitimately, it took people to understand 20 minutes. You have to back up. You cannot proceed any further. This is not going to work. And then you had people trying to figure out if they had to do a Y turn and face downhill so they could face leaving in the correct direction, or if they just wanted to back up and just sit there and put it in reverse and just back down the hill. And I almost get into an accident with the person who was in front of me going up the hill, deciding not to do a Y turn and face me. This individual just wanted to kind of back up the entire time, and they almost smashed into my front bumper. And I'm literally going like this, into the woman's rear camera. It's like, stop. And she had a new car. And she's like, stop. And it was chaos. And so after people were parking as far away as Paideia.
That's kind of far.
The Paideia School.
I could have walked.
And people were walking from the Druid Hills Golf Club to come.
I could have walked where I lived.
This is what I'm saying. And I messaged.
I knew where to go.
I messaged Jason and I said I could have parked at your parking and walked and still had a really good parking space. But fighting all the battles that I was, and I passed by his car and he got a really good parking space.
I did good.
I could not find a place to park, and so I kept driving out in the outer perimeter and couldn't find a place to park. And so I went home and edited Red Clay.
So he went home and did work. I was up here with lots of folks. It was very cool. And what was the coolest thing about it with the debut of the beer was Nofo Brewing. That's who we partnered with on the beer. It's exclusively available here at the Brewhouse and at Nofo Tap Rooms. Nofo was here for the parade. They had an outside bar in the parking lot and went through, I think, 3 kegs in the outside bar.
That's awesome.
Sold out everything in the outside bar. Had to shut it down earlier than they thought they were going to because everything sold out there. We're still a little bit inside. That's why I'm having an around the corner lager tonight. It did really well. And it was very cool, like talking to servers, talking to people. People would try it, and it's awesome that the people up here were telling people about it, and they're hearing about it, like, oh, let me try that, and then they got more because it was good. It's exactly what we wanted it to be. Full credit to the crew at Nofo for putting this together. When I talked to Joe Garcia about it and kind of what we envisioned for it, we wanted a beer to have while you're watching a game that is light, is just a simple, easy drinking lager, and they nailed it. I don't really, I'm a huge IPA fan. I don't like a lot of the other different beers. I'm pretty simple when it comes to this with a lager, and it is the best of the local lagers that I've had. When it becomes available in cans, it will be my purchase in stores, and hopefully that's going to happen before the World Cup next year. Lots of cool collaborations that I think are going to spin out of this with everything going on with Nofo Brewing, with the Brewhouse Cafe, with the SDH Network. Really cool stuff. So it's amazing that we have a beer and it's really, really good, and I enjoy it. And I'm going to enjoy finishing my pint before we leave here tonight, which we're about to start packing up.
Correct.
So any final questions, throw them into the chat. As I mentioned, when it comes to Atlanta United, I think it's going to be a busy week. There will be a press conference at some point this week. It's not been officially announced yet to talk about the decision to move on from Ronnie Dyla. You're going to have to start making decisions on players and who comes back. There's not as many guys that are in option years as you think, and they're not really at the top end of the roster. So it's going to be a very interesting offseason in trying to make this roster better and being more competitive than finishing where they did, which was not good enough.
No. On the morning show, we start our previews. We look back at Decision Day a little bit. Casey White's going to join us at 9:15. And we have our friend Mike Ramajo from West TV in Orlando. He's going to join us. And we'll run that interview to get our Orlando preview side. Max Anderson, radio play-by-play voice for Chicago Fire, is going to join us live at that 10 o'clock. And that'll get our day started. Then later on in the week, we'll be catching up with Jake Crumley. And we'll find out about the experience of winning the Copa America for the USCPNT. And
Yeah,
so,
that's awesome.
And so we're going to catch up with Jacob, and that'll be running on the network, and they'll probably run it on Thursday as well. To just keep your notifications out for that. We're also trying to track down Stuart Sharp, the coach. And he, in our conversations, he reminded me that his assistant coach for the trip down for the Copa was Kevin Kratz.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So Kevin Kratz was the assistant for Stuart Sharp as they won the Copa. So we'll catch up there with that. We're also chasing after some of the other folks and the other matchups. We'll keep you posted on all of that as we go. Looks like our friend Will Kalajic is going to be joining us on Friday morning to get the rundown of everything in Charlotte and efforting folks in a lot of our other markets. And it won't be as chaotic this Friday as it was last Friday, but we'll find out what the voices of Major League Soccer have to say heading into the playoff weekend.
So morning show tomorrow. Restream got caught up in the AWS outages today, and luckily it's back working now.
Yes.
That's why we're here with you. David, you will get a NoFo discount starting very soon, and it'll be at their tap rooms. And we are working on a Fanaticos membership discount here at the Brewhouse Cafe down the line as well. We're working on those things to get them into the chant app for you. If you're not part of the Fanaticos, go to our website, link to the Fanaticos sign-up page. It's our membership. You get discounts to different places. Hopefully that's been working out well for everybody. That's going to continue to grow, especially next year. A lot of people are starting to get very interested in what we're doing on the SDH network. It's going to be a busy rest of the year, even with Atlanta United out. We've got on our broadcast side of stuff, I've got Georgia State games the rest of the way. Maddie's got Georgia Gwinnett. Our Oglethorpe home season has ended. Both of the men's and the women's teams are going to the SAA conference tournament. We'll catch up with both of them before they get to that. They've got a big in-state rivalry game with Barry coming up at the end of the regular season. Emory is really flying right now. The women have been ranked number 1. Their men have been ranked in the top 5 all season long. We're going to catch up with Corey Griner and Sir Patberg to talk to them. Georgia Southern's men are ranked in the top 25. They're hosting Kentucky, a top 25 matchup here coming up later this week. Mercer, both their men and their women should make the SoCon conference tournaments. We'll be talking to them as we get closer to that. So lots going on the college side. UPSL with Georgia Impact, with other teams that we follow. We've got some academy broadcasts coming up with Atlanta United over the next 2 weekends. I think we're going to have the U16s and the U18s for both. We're trying to get one of the younger teams as well, so you can get to know the next generation of talent coming through. So stay tuned to that. Those will be in the mornings on the next 2 Saturdays. And in December 5th, it's the World Cup draw, and we're going to have a big event here at the Brewhouse. We're going to be doing some things in conjunction with Atlanta United as they're covering the draw from their perspective with players like Miguel Almiron, potentially Steve Gregerson. They're in, but they're not in. They're guaranteed the playoff. Italy would have to win games by like 20 to flip the goal differential. So Norway's essentially in. Poland is not quite in. They'll probably be going to the playoff. They could jump the Netherlands, but more than likely they're going to be going to the playoff. So we'll be working with Atlanta United on coverage of the World Cup draw on Friday, December 5th. And it really gets crazy after that, because that's when you start to have things locked in. You start to see who could be coming to Atlanta and what this is all going to look like. Just buckle up. It's going to be a busy Atlanta United offseason. It's going to be a busy fall and winter. We'll be here on Monday nights. We'll be here many other times as well. We're doing a lot of stuff with NoFo up in their coming and their Gainesville locations. We might even go to Cleveland. Who knows? They have a third location up there that I've not seen yet. I've seen the pictures, and amazing. It's beautiful. So lots of partnerships, lots of stuff coming up. Yeah, David, the GSU men, and that was a huge win for them over the weekend as well. They beat number 3 West Virginia. So
They're mortal in Morgantown.
yeah.
Gardner Webb beat them up there.
Yeah, and I think that's their only 2 losses, if I'm not mistaken. So they can get got, but Georgia State got them over the weekend. I hated to miss that one. I'll have Georgia State's men and women on Friday and Sunday for calls on ESPN Plus coming up here later this week. That'll do it for us. Yeah, Will, I know that would be perfect if the U.S. was in Philadelphia on July 4th, but yeah, the U.S. is going to be out west. There's no telling. It's kind of weird with the third-place teams potentially moving through, so things could get weird. I don't think the U.S. will end up in Philly. Maybe it's meant to be. Curious to see who we're going to get when we start getting those knockout games. I want to see who we get for the group stage. All kinds of stuff. We'll be covering all of it as we go. But hopefully everybody is doing well. We will be back here on next Monday night. John will be in the AM side of things tomorrow, barring any other outages. I'll have Atlanta soccer tonight, tomorrow evening. I think that's about it for like weird stuff this week until Saturday, where we have Atlanta United Academy.
And opening kickoff tomorrow, we will play the clip from MLS Countdown, where they were catching up with Brad. So thanks to our friends at Major League Soccer.
Yeah,
we're going to play that until soundbite.
Awesome. We all have a good rest of the night. Good luck on your picks of the week. I need all the good luck I can get on my picks of the week. Fingers crossed I don't finish last this time around. I just want to finish in positive. That's all, please. Y'all have a good night. Adios.